All right, good afternoon. I'm Kim Stenson with the State Emergency Management Division, and we've called this press conference today to discuss some of the winter weather that's going to be approaching the state here in the next few hours. We're not going to see what the rest of the nation is going to see in terms of cold weather, but there are some dangers that are going to impact our citizens as a result of this cold weather that's coming in, which is a bit unusual for South Carolina. And in particular, two particular groups of people that are very vulnerable are the elderly and infants. So we're going to talk about a little bit about some of the safety precautions that you can take in terms of making sure that we get through this cold spell safely. So we've got several organizational representatives here today that are going to talk about their specific areas, and we're going to start with Steve Naglett from the National Weather Service here in Columbia. Steve?
All right, thank you, Kim. Get out those extra blankets and coats tonight because it is going to get quite cold by tomorrow morning. We do have a very strong cold Arctic air mass working its way down into South Carolina. The temperatures are going to plummet down to around 10 to 15 degrees tonight and tomorrow night. But along with that, we're going to also have some very strong winds later on tonight into tomorrow morning. Winds are going to go from anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour with some higher gusts. And as a result, by daybreak tomorrow morning, these are going to create wind chill conditions from 0 to -5 below 0. As a result, the Weather Service has put out a wind chill advisory across the state for tonight and tomorrow morning. The winds will begin to subside tomorrow afternoon, and so things will become a little better. However, we will go down again to 10 to 15 degrees tomorrow night. High temperatures, on the other hand, are going to be probably below freezing, at least west of Chesterfield to Augusta line, and that's going to be quite cold. We're also looking at setting some record low temperatures tonight. The record at Columbia is 16 degrees, and tomorrow night our record low is 12 degrees. So we're going to be breaking our temperature low tonight and be very close to it tomorrow night. On the bright side, temperatures will be gradually warming through the end of the week, and by the time we get into the weekend, we're looking for high temperatures to get into the 60s.
Next, Red Cross.
Thank you. I'm Stephen Hudson with the Palmetto SC region here with the Red Cross in South Carolina. Our biggest takeaway for this is one, check on your elderly neighbors, and two is fire safety. We've seen an increase in the number of home fires that we've responded to here in the region, which is 35 counties here in South Carolina. Just to give you a few numbers, our division, which is the Mid-Atlantic, which goes from South Carolina, North Carolina up to Maryland to Philadelphia, we're leading the division here in South Carolina, and that's not a good thing. So just to give you kind of an idea, from July 1, which is the beginning of our fiscal year for the Red Cross, through January 3rd, we've responded to 759 fires, and we've assisted 2,470 displaced persons. This weekend alone, we responded to 14 single-family fires in the region and 1 multi-unit family fire and assisted 46 people that were displaced. That's just over this weekend. So the big takeaway from the Red Cross is think fire safety. We have a list of fire safety tips on our website. I'll certainly be available to provide some of those to you as well. But again, just check on your elderly neighbors, take care of each other, and just be careful when it comes to home heating. Think tips like don't use an oven to heat your home and things like that. So that's really the big takeaway from the Red Cross is think fire safety, because we are in peak fire season, so we're seeing a number of home fires this time of year. And with the temperatures dropping, we'll see an increase as well.
Highway Patrol.
Good afternoon. My name is Sergeant Bob Bears with the South Carolina Highway Patrol. Our biggest concern is public safety. Obviously, we want to remind the motoring public to watch out for wet roadways, because they're not always wet. They're known as black ice. And we do have troopers that are constantly checking the bridges and overpasses for black ice. We are working in conjunction with the Department of Transportation for getting those roadways that do ice up sanded down. Remind the public that please dial star HP if you see someone that's broken down outside the interstate, abandoned vehicles, anyone that needs help. That number goes to a local dispatch office, and that dispatcher will send the closest trooper to that location. Whether you need assistance or you see someone else that needs assistance, we don't want anyone on the side of the roadway sitting in their vehicles in this cold weather. If you do plan on traveling, two things we want to remind people is have a blanket in your car, have some extra food in there in case you do break down, and Also, if your vehicle has a check engine light on now before you leave, don't make that trip. Get your vehicle serviced before you head out. And if you need any winter driving tips, please go to our website, scdps.gov, to get those winter driving tips on our webpage. Thank you.
I'd also like to mention that our website, scemd.org, has a number of winter safety tips on there as well. Things such as dressing in layers, make sure you don't get wet. Pretty simple stuff, pretty common sense, but sometimes we have to be reminded of that. So please take a look at that and see if there's any information that might be useful in the next couple of days in terms of this cold weather that's setting in here in South Carolina. At this point, does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask either myself or any of the group here?
I got one here. The weather is, for the upstate, what you think the lowest may be? Well, the lows in the upstate are also gonna be around 10 to 12 degrees. A lot depends on how much the wind will heat up the atmosphere a little bit, but it's gonna be very cold up there as well.
Yeah. Any liquid precipitation?
No precipitation with the snow. It's a very dry Arctic air mass that's coming in tonight.
I know we preach a lot of time about, fires and driving safety, but what can you really iterate? If you don't have to go, don't go?
Yes, I would definitely stay in. A lot of people around here do not winterize their vehicles. And tonight's gonna be quite cold, but we're gonna stay below freezing for 36 hours. So actually, Wednesday morning is when you really have to worry about pipes freezing, or perhaps your vehicles overheating from not having enough antifreeze in them.
That's all I got.
Other questions? All right, no other questions. Thanks very much. Appreciate you coming out here today.